Let's talk about the amendment to the National Defense Authorization. Let's talk about where that went, where it stands.
Well, I'm very pleased by that. We had two amendments in that bill, two Grayson amendments. One of them was to deal with a form of personal tragedy that isn't really well known. Unfortunately, there's a very high incidence of rape in the military. Many of our female servicemen are in fact sexually assaulted. What I found out was that when there's a case like that arises, the military goes into the hooch, that's the place where they live, and they take away the personal items that the victim has, and they don't give them back because they're evidence. So we passed an amendment in the defense bill to ensure that the victims of sexual assault in the military get their stuff back. And I think that's the only humane way to deal with that situation. Second, this is very important to us locally. A lot of our launches here locally now are defense-related launches. A lot of the commercial work has gone to Ariane in French Guiana. It's gone to some private launchers like SpaceX. So NASA is now becoming more and more dependent upon military launches. We had a space military plan program that was due to expire. And that would have cut back dramatically on our local economic base when we support such launches. So what I did was I extended that program through 2030 as part of the defense bill.
Let's talk about the VA hospital. It has sat there delay after delay after delay. Your take?
Well, I hold the contractor responsible. The contractor has consistently undermanned the job, putting on half as many people on the job as they needed at any given moment. In addition to that, the contractors committed massive labor violations left and right, underpaying people for the work that they do. And the result of that is that we've fallen years behind. Now, the contractor's story is that there have been a lot of changes. I'm not convinced that that's the real cause of the delay. So what I propose is that, first of all, I introduced an amendment last year to say that the contractor would not get any more work unless they finished by a certain date. That seems to have focused their attention on finishing by a certain date. I got that bill passed several months ago. Secondly, still not satisfied with progress, I invited the Veterans Administration to debar the contract to prevent other communities from suffering the way Orlando veterans have suffered from their delays. The VA said that it hadn't risen to that level of seriousness yet. But again, what I'm doing is trying to encourage the contractor to finish as quickly as possible. At this point, we're very close to an opening. All but one of the floors of the main building have been finished.
Congressman Micah says we'll have the finest VA hospital anywhere.
That may well be true. I can't say that I have the same encyclopedic knowledge of VA hospitals that he does. I will say that one of my proudest accomplishments the first time that I was in Congress was getting full funding for this hospital in my district. And I'm very, very pleased that we're going to see an extremely high, elevated standard of care, the very best that anybody has to offer to our veterans who definitely deserve it.
This contractor, is there any ramifications beyond the cost going up and having to pay them for these delays? Is there anything that the government can do as a wake-up call?
Yes, we're going to continue our efforts to see that this contractor does not victimize other localities, other veterans in other places. We're going to continue our efforts to see that the contractor's poor past performance is held against this contractor when the contractor bids on other projects elsewhere.
Even though the Veterans Affairs Committee has said that they have found nothing that would do that, do you feel differently?
I do. The matter is still open. What's happened is the Veterans Administration that they didn't see any willful violations in the information that was presented to them. I think there were willful violations. We'll present more information to them. We'll see how they feel.
Very good. Coming up in our final segment, we'll talk some more about the culture of inaction in Washington and how that might change in the new year. And we'll get some of Congressman Grayson's thoughts about the early presidential prospects as they look ahead to 2016. That and more next.